I'm delighted to be joined by new Aylesbury United manager Jack Wells. Welcome to the Ducks, Jack. What attracted you to the manager's role?
Well, to be honest, it's a massive job. The football club as a whole is a club that I've admired for a long period of time. I'm based just down the road, so in terms of local football, I still class it as local football. So being at the level for the sort of last 3 or 4 years, they're a club that I've always kept an eye out on results. Most recently, obviously, it wanted last year on a Tuesday night, took an absolute drumming from Aylesbury, being the opposite dugout. So Aylesbury's a club I know pretty well. I know people around the club that have been here in terms of ex-players and such, and had good conversations with them. And when I said I was going to apply for the job, they all agreed that it would be a great suit for both myself and for the football club in terms of where the club are, where I am, and where we all want to go on the journey together. So a massive football club in which I'm honoured to be a part of now, and really excited to get going.
So, in simple terms, how would you describe your approach to football?
How do my approach to football? I mean, I'm pretty new school in the sense of what I want us to do, and that is I want us to be aggressive in possession. I watched our last 3 games, and I spoke to Jack Wood yesterday, and he sort of agreed. We don't keep the ball for long enough, and ultimately that's at times is what's costing us goals, because we're having to defend for long periods of time. And one thing that I'll be sure to sort of try to initiate very early on in my tenure is that we retain possession a lot better. We're more aggressive with the ball, and we try to hurt sides. In terms of how I want to play, listen, it's a really competitive level, and there's teams in the league that spend a hell of a lot of money on players that can really hurt you. So you have to still be able to do the fundamentals, because that's a really important part of football. But what I would like to see us do sort of in the immediate is really look at how we can hurt sides and start to look at what are our strengths in possession. How can we make teams defend for longer periods than we're currently making them? Can we keep the ball for longer periods? Can we frustrate sides? They're things that I'm a real stickler for, because I think the longer that we're in possession of the ball, teams are going to look at us and look at our in my opinion, false lead position, and get frustrated, and it allows us into the game more often. So what you can expect from a new look Aylesbury side will be a team that will be a little bit more aggressive, and will have goes at teams, and will really try and show people what we're about in possession of the ball.
You're a young chap, Jack, but you actually started your coaching career at just 21 years old. Was coaching something you always wanted to go into and always wanted to be involved in?
Yes and no. I think anyone that knows me in terms of as a player, I was a bit of a mercenary. I never really found great love playing anywhere. I went and played at different clubs around sort of step 4, step 5, and picked up my money like most do. And having sort of my son very early, I didn't want to do the travelling up and down the country. I'll be quite frank. I thought I could offer the game more in coaching. And as soon as I sort of took my first role in as coaching, it was very clear that I felt that's what I needed to do. I don't get me wrong, I tinkered with it. I think I ended up playing 4 or 5 games for one this last year because we didn't have a keeper. But realistically, coaching is where I feel I was best suited, and I've worked really hard in the last few years to show people that I'm more than capable of taking this job. And I think, in comparison, I am young, and I have to thank the board for trusting me, because actually, when you look at my CV and you compare it to maybe someone that's older than me, or bigger names, which I'm sure applied for the job, what the board did is they trust that process of my CV, and they saw that what I've achieved. I've had those drudgy jobs where I've had to go in as a first team coach, and I've had to carry the balls and pick up the cones, and I've learnt the hard way. Some coaches and some managers get opportunities because of who they are and where they've been. I didn't have that luxury. I've worked really hard to take this job, and I give a lot of credit to Graham and the board for sort of being able to see that, and see that I've gone through some really difficult jobs, especially of late, and come through the other side of it. But they're sort of relevant experience, I feel, that will help me be successful at this football club. 31 and working towards my next license, and I could have went and done my license at 27, but I had an opportunity, very thankfully, due to Paul Davis, to go in at Redditch at step 3 at 27, and I had to make a decision on, what was more relevant for me, to go and get experience at step 3 with a big football club in Redditch United, or to go and do my next licence. Well, for me, it was the experience at the level, which is pay testament to where I am today. So it's not always about licences, it's not always about age. I feel like my experience in coaching has put me in good stead to take this opportunity, and I'm of course very thankful for it, but also feel very deserved of it.
And what sort of lessons have you learned from your coaching experience?
Loads. I mean, like I said, I was quite lucky to work under Paul Davis, and Paul is someone that I admire, obviously now over at Hemel with Mark Jones, and Mark I know well from my Oxford City days. So you take bits from everyone. I've been very lucky last year at Wantage with a completely different set of tools and circumstances. I learned a lot. This year, very lucky to go in on Eddie's staff at North Lee, and that's a guy that's played a lot of professional football and has got a really good CV, a really good assistant in Michael Alexis again. Has played a lot of good football. So I'm never naive to think that I've stopped learning. Every job I've ever taken, I've always sort of ensured that I've taken bits from different people, and again they're all testament to where I am now, to ensure the things that I know that I want to do, and equally the things that I don't want to do in this job. So I think that the learning curve in football will never stop. I'm 31 and considered quite young as a manager, and I'll continue to learn and pick things up from other people. I'm not naive that I know that I'll pick stuff up from my coaching staff, I'll pick stuff up from other managers in technical areas this year, and that's what I'll continue to do, is to learn and be the best that I can possibly be.
And how would you describe your coaching style? What type of manager are you?
Very hands-on, to be honest with you. So I like to be a part of what we do. I'm a firm believer in, I don't want to sit there with a clipboard and tell players what I expect of them. I want to be on the training pitch and showing them, because I believe I'm a very good coach. I believe that the messages I get across are good ones, are clear ones. I believe the way that I want us to play is the right way. It's a way that will excite the fans. It will make people want to turn up and watch Aylesbury United, and at times to our own detriment, because we'll take risks and we'll try to play, and at times that will hurt us. But ultimately, I've been a fan as well, and I know when I turn up, I want to watch a team that puts a good shift in and works really hard, and if they can add excitement as well. So as a coaching philosophy, I'll be someone that will be on the training ground with the boys, and will really work towards a sort of a system of play that I want to incorporate at Aylesbury. And yeah, like I said, I'm quite flary. I've been known to be quite loud in the dugout, but it's just because I care, and like I said, I've not once underestimated how big of a job this is, in the sense that the football club is massive, and we are currently in a false position for many reasons. We've had a really difficult transition time, obviously, since Ben left, and Batch has done a really good job. Torrid injuries at the moment as well, so it is a big job, in the sense that we are in a position that we don't particularly want to be in. I'm sure we're looking through it a little bit and saying, Barton picked up a result on Saturday and Siren, and suddenly we've been drawn back in after a good result against Highworth, and we need to pick up some points. So hopefully my coaching methods will allow us to do such, and we'll be able to kick on.
And I appreciate you haven't actually spent any time with the players yet, but you must already have thoughts and ideas about what you plan to do and what you want to do with them when you do get to speak to them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I spoke to the chairman, I was very clear in sort of the first initial interview stage that, having watched against Didcot and knowing a lot of the group, that, to be fair, the group's not changed massively in the years that Ben's been here. So there's a lot of good characters in the group that love the club, and that's a big thing for me, having been at clubs where, I think last year I went through 40 odd different players. So to have a club where players want to be here is the biggest task. So it's important that we respect that, and that there's players here that have done a really good job for this football club, and no wholesome changes need to be made. I'm not someone that's going to bring in 6, 7, 8 players, because quite frankly it's not needed. Do we need to strengthen? Yeah, of course we do, because injuries are currently an issue at the moment. Obviously Tom picked up a bit of a bad one on Sunday against Biggleswade. So we need to bring in 2 or 3 in the immediate, which we're working on. So we'll have a signing, hopefully have a line tomorrow. And there's another one I'm hoping to get in before we travel to Ware on Saturday. But like I said, the group as a whole is a good group. There's good characters in there, and technically there's good players in there. What we need to do is we're going to have a bit of a transitional period in the sense that my ideas will be different to Ben's and to Batch's, who've been fantastic for this football club over the previous years. The job that Ben's done is a very good one, and they're big boots to fill. But my methods will be slightly different, and we have to try and get the players to believe in those methods, and I know that they will, because what we're trying to create is a sense of being in this league, that we're not here just to tinker around. 14th, I think we finished last year 15th. That we're a club that have ideas of bigger things, and you have to be realistic. Those bigger things are not to compete with some of the massive budgets that can go on and win this league, but to create a sense of being that we can compete with bigger sides, and we can have a really good go at it.
And what are you going to be looking for in your first couple of games in charge?
Well, obviously we go to Ware on Saturday, which is probably the most difficult start you could have at this level. So Ware will be, we don't know about this season, won't they? And going to Ware is a really difficult place to go. The benefits are we know we're going to play on a nice surface, obviously being a 4G. It's a really lovely setup, and they're a really good side as well. Listen, they were there thereabouts last year. They've had a really good start this year. But again, a lot of people, I suppose, I spoke to a few people this week, and they sort of said, you're going to Ware, it's a bit of a free hit. And no, it's not a free hit, because no fixture at this level is a free hit. I'm going on Saturday, and we'll prepare the lads on Thursday to get some points. Is that a hard task? Yeah, of course it is, because they're a bloody good side, but so are we. And it's a really difficult challenge, but one that I'm sure the boys will embrace, and we'll work really hard Thursday to ensure that we put a good show of ourselves against Ware. And obviously Wednesday we got Chesham in the cup, and that one is one that we may look to experiment, and we may look to look at our shape so we can be more prominent in possession and do better things with it. And there also might be some more personnel changes by that point. I might manage to bring in one or two more. Because ultimately as well, there's a lot of football in quick succession, so we need to protect some of the other lads, other senior lads. We've lost senior players this year in terms of Mark, and now Tom as well, after scoring his hat-trick last week, and to be out for a few weeks is really frustrating. So we have to also look after players, and that's really important, that we don't just keep picking the same 9 out of whatever it is, 14, 15 that we decide to take, because will come Christmas and they'll be absolutely knackered, and after Christmas we'll be trying to regeneralise them, and it'll be hard. So we've got to look after players. So yeah, Saturday, listen, no free hits. We're not going there just to make the numbers up. We're going to be competitive Saturday, and we're going to play a competitive fixture at a competitive level. Wednesday, obviously our first home game, and I hope to see lots of fans there. There will be some changes, and we will look to bring in some new faces. So the only thing that I can say really, the next 2 fixtures is that we'll be competitive, and we'll have goes at 2 very good sides. Obviously Chesham the league higher as well, but I'm certainly not going to those games sort of with the mindset that it doesn't really matter what the results are. People will see it and understand, a new manager's come in and there's no, none of that. We'll have a good go at both fixtures.
And it's just kind of away from the football. How do you like to relax, kind of away from football? How do you take your mind away? Because it can be all consuming.
I don't relax. So obviously I own 2 businesses, and I've got a 7-week-old baby at home, as well as an 8-year-old. So relax is not a word that really happens a lot at the moment. No, I'm quite lucky that my partner makes me relax. She's very good at being able to sort of come in from work and football, whatever it might be, and understands that it's important that I have some me time with my family, and that's always important. Like I said, it takes up a lot of your time, football at this level, and I don't think people quite appreciate that. And that isn't just supporters, that's volunteers like yourself and the board, and there's a lot of work that goes into it. But the one thing I have learned, to go back to a little bit to one of your questions earlier, is that you still must have time for yourself and for your family, and there's always things that are as equally important, if not more so, and you have to find balance. And I think that's why now is a really good time for me to take a role, because I've managed to find that balance between my work and my social and my family, but ensuring that I still give absolutely everything I can to Aylesbury and to this role, to ensure that we're successful moving forward.
And have you got any kind of final message for the fans before you get going in earnest?
Yeah, I mean, I've spent a lot of time the last few days sort of going through the forum and Twitter and looking at lots of the people that interact with the Twitter and what they want from the football club, and I think those things are a team that is exciting and creates a good atmosphere around the place, that we are going to try and, you know, be successful in the right areas. You know, we're going to go and be exciting. We're going to have goes at teams and you know, we're going to try and have a bit of flair about us, but also in the sense of sort of like, you know, communication. I'm very open. People can message me. They can stop me on a Saturday, or they can come down on a Thursday, and I'm more than happy to talk to them. So yeah, for the fans, I know it's been a really difficult transition, and the last few weeks have not been easy. And I appreciate that, and you know, what I ask is that if they're able to make the trip to Ware, which isn't the easiest one of the season, I'm sure, then, you know, come down on Wednesday against Chesham, you know, and have a look at what we're about. And like I said, I'll be there. I'm more than happy to talk to people and to have conversations about what we want to achieve. But I think, you know, again, I said it to someone the other day, on that Tuesday night, I think we were 3-0 down against Aylesbury at Wantage in the first sort of 15-20 minutes, and these Aylesbury fans just kept singing and singing. And I went in at half time and I said, those fans are getting on my nerves now. We need to get into this game. But, you know, it's a great thing to have at this level, because you don't find it very often. So I can certainly say now, to be in the dugout where I've got those fans singing on my side opposed to being in the opposite dugout, is a really important one. So please keep doing it. Please keep you know, turning up and singing and supporting the boys, because we're very thankful for it. And I, for one, of being a fan and spending my own money as a teenager following, you know, Oxford City up and down the country, I know sometimes it can be frustrating, and I know it's very easy when things are hard to go, oh, I won't bother this week. But, you know, I can assure them that I'm going to try and put a side together that at a minimum, you know, will run into the ground for them, and that will work really hard. And I'm hoping with all those other elements I talked about in terms of the coaching side and what my staff can bring, that we'll pick points up along the way and we'll enjoy the ride. But I don't think there's anything to worry about. You know, ultimately there's no given right to win games of football, but from what I've seen from the group, there's enough quality to ensure that we can go forward, pick some points up, and together as a whole club, fans, board, you know, supporters, staff, players, that we can be successful together.
Thank you very much for your time, Jack. It's much appreciated, and we're very much looking forward to seeing you in the dugout against Ware on Saturday.
Perfect. Thanks a lot.